Oh, Rita, you were just up there. No, it's not. Oh, the Irishman. Oh, there I am.
In the fall of 1883, I had just one more load of coal for the Cornish Jacks and the Silver Island mine. Beneath the icy waves, they picked the knife in the silver caves, and the coal fires kept them dry. And I never once did think that just a couple drinks was out of mind to die. 17 good years, I've been a faithful captain here. I always had an eye for the weather. And it's an easy thing to say if you're looking for someone to blame. Well, the captain should have known better. And everyone still thinks that the captain's love a drink. Why that silver mine died. And I could hear the voice of Jim whisper in my ear that maybe it was Sally saying, "Who's the captain here? The tunnel is your ship. You surely have the right to set the time of sail and to stay here where it's warm one more night." The captain of my ship and the master of my pride, but still there's an undertow in every sailor's mind, and the blue of Sally's eyes and the warmth of her thighs spoke to me in terms that could not be denied. I turned my back on the lake, thinking she would wait, give me a little more time. Last night, and Lou told us about this press conference that was going on this morning to celebrate the renovations and the restoration of this wonderful building. We travel all across Canada and all across the United States and all across Great Britain, playing music very much like what you just heard just now. There are no finer facilities than this one. This is a wonderful jewel that you folks have here, and it's terrific to see, the kind of effort and resources that are being put into this. And we feel very privileged to get to come and play at places like this all over the place, and it wouldn't happen with without the resourcefulness and the effort and the determination of the committee here and people like Lou Liguri. So we want to thank you for asking us to come and play a tune or two here for you, Lou. So I'll let you take it from here. You can tell us either play another song or get lost.
I should have talked first. Well, I wish you could all feel as good as I do this morning.
We do.
Well, first of all, we've got a number of things to accomplish this morning. I'd like to welcome you all to the Endicott Performing Arts Center. I apologize ahead of time for my voice, which I left here last week during our Terror in the Theater fundraiser, where we raised over $10,000 in one day. There's a number of things we want to accomplish today. First of all, we're here to give a State of the Theater project presentation, to make some very important announcements about the future, and at the same time, we've got some very special guests who have been on stage and as well are in the audience that are going to come up and speak briefly in a little while. But let me first of all get to where we started. It was only 2.5 short years ago, in April of '98, that Bob Corwin, Pat Daglio, Steve Daglio, Pat Bodie, Sue Dunlop, and myself walked into the abandoned town theater. The theater at that time had been closed by the Carroll's Corporation for about 5 years, and it appeared to be about 1 year away from becoming a parking lot. We made our way through broken plaster, fallen ceilings, empty, mildewed, and rusted theater chairs, tattered, stained, and rotted curtains, and a roof that looked like a macaroni strainer. Dilapidated theater chairs were everywhere. About 500 extra theater chairs were piled on top of the chairs that were permanently installed in the theater. There was broken open concession equipment everywhere in the theater. There was furniture and fixtures. The heating system had long ago quit and the pipes had frozen and broken. At the same time, the electrical system defied any sort of logic whatsoever. There was no stage to speak of. There was just a movie screen which was propped up against the back wall and on top of a 40-foot high rickety wallboard wall. And there were in the ceiling everywhere, there were sheets of plastic that were arranged to try to keep the water off of the screen that was coming in through the roof because of the rain. It was quite a scene, but we had a different scene in mind. What we saw when we came through that building were dancers and actors, singers, songwriters, poets, and playwrights. We saw festivals, shows, recitals, and concerts. Young and old alike working together to entertain and to be entertained, to educate and to be educated, to have their lives changed and to change lives. That's what we saw in that broken down old theater. We also saw something that we remembered. Revitalization of Washington Avenue. Back to the good old days when the family can come down to Washington Avenue and shop and have a dinner and relax and enjoy an afternoon together. Well, Bob, Pat, Steve, and Sue, because they had the money, took the chance and bought the building. They asked Pat and I to manage the theater project, and we happily accepted the challenge. And I'm here to tell you today what we've accomplished so far. A business plan was put together. Our nonprofit organization application was initiated. The call went out for volunteers, and believe me, they came by the score. We started out by cleaning out the garbage, and there was plenty of it. We dismantled the existing theater and office building heating system and filled 3 gigantic roll-offs with cast iron, pipe, radiators, and garbage. Pat, Steve, Bob, Sue had the roof repaired, and as time went on, repaired again, until finally we appear to be watertight. A new heating system was installed in the front lobby. The electrical system was improved, and new breaker boxes were installed to accommodate theater lighting needs. Every chair in this theater was removed from the floor, in every case by hand, with hammer and chisel, disassembled and stacked along the sides of the theater, while we began to raise money to get those chairs renovated with our Show You Care, Buy a Chair renovation program. Hundreds of the extra discarded chairs were sold to the Central Leatherstocking Railway, which is a nonprofit organization in Cooperstown who wanted to use them for their auction barn. We were happy. They gave us money for those chairs, which we used to pay operating costs and to continue to do renovations at the theater. We met with Fire Marshal Murphy. We reviewed our renovation plan step by step. His guidance and direction cleared the way for an event-by-event approval so that we could begin to hold a series of fundraising events for the renovations. We built a makeshift stage, and makeshift it was, and held our first fundraising event in October of 1998. It was called Terror at the Theater. Our haunted house tour at Halloween time in 1 week that year also grossed $10,000. And we used that as seed money to begin real renovations to the theater. At the same time, we began to hold regular events such as folk concerts by touring and local artists, open mic nights to raise money to pay current operating costs and utilities. We also held additional events like garage sales, bottle drives, and continued our focus on the Show You Care, Buy a Chair campaign. About that time, we learned that Roberson Museum was closing its theater. I contacted them and arranged for our volunteers to go in, dismantle portions of their theater's lighting and rigging system, and bring those items here. They were gracious enough to offer those items free as long as we took them from the theater. We rented a truck, and over a couple of weekends, our very talented and often magical lighting director, Bill Nurse, was able to put together a respectable theater lighting system for EPAC. I spoke with Terry Burke at the music workshop about our project, and Terry offered to install and leave a full-fledged theater sound system for our use. And here's what he said: Lou, pay me when you get paid. If you make money, pay me. If you don't make money, don't pay me. How can you beat that? How can you beat that kind of generosity? And isn't that an indication of how people feel about needing a venue like this? And I've got to tell you that, in my mind, our theater has the finest sound in the Triple Cities. Our application for a nonprofit corporation status is approved by the IRS, and we received our official 501c3 designation in March of 1999. We met with Broome County officials, Bill White and Jeff Graham, and set forth our business plan. We didn't walk into this without a plan. We had a plan. And in March of 1999, we were awarded a seed grant of $25,000 for construction of a new theater stage. At the same time, our Show You Care, Buy a Chair fundraising program was in full swing and had reached a point where we could now send out the chairs that we had taken out to get stripped to the bare metal, powder painted. It took us a week to separate the pieces of those chairs and then to load them on the truck and get them out of here. That cleared the floor and gave us the ability to then begin construction on the stage. Well, Broome County, we're reporting to you on how the stage construction went. The bid we originally received on that project from Orlando Construction was over $50,000, about twice what your seed grant totaled. We met with Joe Orlando and asked what we could do to reduce the cost. And Joe said, that's easy, do the hard work, and that'll reduce the cost. So he also indicated that he could substantially reduce the cost and would donate the use of his dump truck to remove all of the concrete that needed to be broken up and taken out to make room for the stage. Well, that's all we had to hear. In the summer of 1999, our many volunteers gave up vacations, weekends, and evenings, and in some cases, almost every waking hour to get the job done. It was a huge undertaking. First, we had to dismantle the existing makeshift stage which we had built. And then we had to dismantle the movie screen that was propped up against the back wall. That screen rested on a second mini stage of about 6 feet, and that had to go too. And then the 40-foot tall wall that the screen was propped against had to come down. And here's how we did it. We removed the bottom portions of the wallboard. We cut every joist in that wall but two. We tied ropes to the top of the wall, and we pulled that baby down. And you can see behind me, as time goes on with the slideshow, some of the results of that demolition. Well, it took a week, and we filled dump truck after dump truck with debris so that we could finally begin construction of the stage. Well, in order to begin construction of the stage, we had to jackhammer the concrete. The front edge of the stage here to the back edge of the wall there was concrete, just like in front of us on the stage floor. That was all jackhammered out by hand and removed from the theater by hand by volunteers. Once that was done, Orlando came in and raised the steel girders beneath the stage to the current stage height. That gave us two things. Number one, it gave us a much larger stage, a very flexible theater space, and at the same time made room down in the cellar for a very large dressing room. Well, we had one small problem with that. In the dressing room were 6 concrete blocks, about 4 foot by 6 foot by 2 foot thick, full of 1-inch reinforcement rod. We took jackhammers down into the cellar, we broke up those concrete blocks, and we carried it up by bucket and brought it across the alley and piled it up. And that concrete filled over 6 dump trucks. Our core group of volunteers by the end of the summer were calling themselves the Dirty Dozen, and believe me, dirty they were. The total cost of the new steel and the installation of that steel was $15,000. And we now had $10,000 left to build the stage. We ordered the lumber and built a stage platform. And over the next 2 months, we laid the joists and installed 2 layers of plywood on top to build the stage surface. At the same time, we constructed stairs for each side of the stage and, of course, the center of the stage, and we coated it with 3 coats of black paint. Total cost, $9,343. Subtotal so far, $24,343. We put down almost 2,000 feet of 2x12s to support 120 sheets of 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood applied in 2 layers. That's what this stage is made of. During the same time period, the chairs by now had been stripped, repainted, and had come back. And it was time to get the seats and backs reupholstered. The Buy the Chair program was in full swing. We had contracted to have them reupholstered, and they were taken out for that to be done. We knocked out the remaining bolts that were in the floor with sledgehammers, patched up the holes. We scraped and primed the floor and then repainted it. A call for help was put out to the local carpenters union, and Dennis Cluck and his apprentice carpenters program came to our aid. They came in twice each week for 6 weeks and helped us complete the job of reassembling and reinstalling the theater seats. In all, our Show You Care Buy a Chair program has raised over $25,000 to pay for our theater chairs. Our next step will be to construct 50 luxury boxes up in the balcony. Approximately 8 mini living rooms, which will be outfitted with easy chairs, coffee tables, for kind of a unique performing arts space. This will round out our theater's capacity to an even 300 seats. In September of 1999, the St. Anthony Players kicked off the EPAC opening with the production of Visions of Vaudeville. That production was the first full-scale live theater production to be held here in well over 30 years. We needed a handicapped bathroom in order to get our permanent certificate of occupancy, and the St. Anthony Players donated the money to construct it. One of our volunteers, Tony Cerrone, almost single-handedly built it himself. In October, we held our first folk festival and began to hold regular concerts featuring touring performing artists like Tanglefoot and Rod McDonald, Les Sampoux, and many others. All proceeds from these events went to help with renovations and operating expenses of the theater. At the same time, IBM approved our matching grants application, and we were certified at the same time by the EDZ as an approved community project. In December of '99, we received our official permanent certificate of occupancy from Fire Marshal Murphy, and EPAC Repertory Company made its debut in December with It's a Wonderful Life. In January of 2000, we opened the door on our new century with Photogate Dance Company's production of Seize the Dance, which played to sellout audiences. In January of 2000, our core support group, the Friends of the Endicott Performing Arts Center, was formally founded and officers were elected. We held the Night of Stars fundraiser, and over 25 local performing artists and arts groups came together for an evening dedicated to raising money for renovations. In February, Caitlin Schofield and a dozen very talented young people came together also, donating their performance to help EPAC raise money for its renovations. In March, we founded our children's theater program called the Kids Theater Workshop. Acting and dance classes were available to children between the ages of 6 and 14, regardless of economic situation. And in June, the Kids Theater Workshop presented the musical Pinocchio, also to sell out audiences. And we held also that month our first gospel festival. We received a DEC grant from the Brooke County Arts Council for $2,250 and an additional grant from the Whitney Houston Foundation for $2,500 for this project. In August, we held a songwriters workshop featuring renowned folk artist Bob Franke. Brooke County Arts Council awarded us a United Cultural grant for that project for about $1,000. We've also been awarded a Decker Foundation Challenge Grant of $20,000 and a Greater Community Foundation Challenge Grant of $5,000 toward our theater's ceiling repair and marquee renovation campaign. The total cost of both of these projects approximates $125,000. We're currently investigating additional sources of money to meet these challenge grants and begin the ceiling renovations. Since then, we've been busier than ever, constructing the proscenium, which frames our stage on both sides and across the top. Again, completely accomplished with volunteer help, from the drawing of the plans by Frank Tedesco to the raising of the truss with block and tackle by hand to the construction and covering of the sides and top with wallboard. The proscenium started with two 53-foot long by 6-foot-high trusses. They sit on another 1,000 feet of wood that make up the side walls, and they're covered by over 50 sheets of sheetrock and plywood, all by hand. The construction of the stage proscenium essentially completed the stage construction project. Total cost of the proscenium, $4,029. Total cost of the stage, $28,300. $373, a far cry from $50,000. We've installed additional lighting, theater lighting, and purchased a new state-of-the-art lighting controller bought in large part with a grant from IBM. We've also built a lighting control booth with a $500 grant from NYSEG. We've begun construction on a second. We've built a control sound room in the back of the theater as well, and now booking events into next year, and we are very optimistic about our future. The next step in our renovation process is to renovate the marquee, which stands outside the theater. As you saw this morning, EPAC Signs has removed the old town theater letters from the top of the marquee, and between now and March, we'll completely refurbish that marquee so that it will look much the way it did back in the 1940s and 50s. In fact, on the board in the front, there is a picture of the marquee with Humphrey Bogart, Casablanca, displayed on it. The next step in the marquee renovation process will be to fabricate a new vertical sign that will look much the same as it did back in 1917. And EPAC Signs has drawn an artist's rendition of that sign in front of us. Obviously, we'll be working closely with the village in terms of code and historic guidelines as far as that goes. But that sign, we've got a picture of the original lyric marquee, and it's almost identical. And so today, we are announcing the beginning of our Light Up the Night marquee renovation campaign. The immediate goal is to raise $5,000 this weekend to pay for the first stage of our project. The next step will be to raise an additional $12,000 to construct that vertical sign, which will hang above the existing marquee. To kick off our campaign, Ballet Arts Theater and the Friends of EPAC are combining to present a fundraising event tomorrow night called Light Up the Night, which will feature an evening of dance combined with a silent auction. The event begins at 7 o'clock with light refreshments and a silent auction preview, and then Ballet Arts will take the stage. Here with us this morning to talk just a bit about Ballet Arts and our fundraising event this weekend is Tina Christina Price, Artistic Director of Ballet Arts. Tina.
I kind of feel like I want to put point shoes on and just dance. Lou, we're very excited to be able to dance for you. We've had the opportunity to dance 3 times in the past 6 months on this wonderful, wonderful stage, and you have lit us up so beautifully. It's now our turn to help you light up. And we're thrilled to help you now, and we're also going to be doing the Nutcracker here and donating that performance to you. Okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank
You think that people want this theater to work?
you. Yay.
Kind of looks like Tickets for the event this weekend, which begins 7 o'clock Saturday evening, are $15 and can be purchased either at the door or in advance. They can call the theater box office at 785-8903. People who can't attend the event but would like to donate something to the renovation project could send their donations to the Endicott Performing Arts Center at 102 Washington Avenue in Endicott, 13760. And by the way, we are an approved IBM matching grants organization, which means that every dollar that someone donates by an IBM employee, IBM will match that dollar. We're also an EDZ community program organization, which means that any cash donation of $1,000 or more for what they call a bricks and mortar campaign, which the marquee would be part of, is eligible for a 25% New York State tax credit, in addition to the tax deduction. So there are lots of benefits, not only from the theater from a donation point of view, but also from the people who are donating money. 2001 looks to be a very exciting year at the Endicott Performing Arts Center. And here to fill you in on what you can expect is my brother-in-arms, my fellow co-manager at Endicott Performing Arts Center, Pat Bodie.
I forgot everything I was going to say, but I think Lou covered it. One thing I do want to say is 2 years ago we had a press conference here, and I was bold enough to to boast our dreams, our aspirations, and our goals. And today I am humbled, literally, that we have met, exceeded, and passed many and all of those goals. In the speech Lou was given here, you heard the same, some similar words over and over again, and that's volunteers, community, and one thing he hasn't said was miracles, because without those three things, none of this would have happened. This is not one man's dream. This is not a small handful of people's dreams. This is obviously a community's dream. Lou had mentioned 2001. You'll see West Side Story here. You'll see The Wiz, the Children's Theater Workshop. You're gonna see Tommy. You're gonna see Cabaret. These are all local. This is our community putting it together. And I just personally want to thank everybody. And we're going to the top. You are gonna see this turn into a cultural hub, not only for Endicott, but for Southern New York. Thank you again.
One of the things that we're proud of this summer is that we're expanding our children's program to not only include 20 weeks of acting and dancing classes, which culminate with the musical The Wiz, but also we're holding a children's songwriting workshop this summer over a course of a month, and that'll be conducted by Dos Madres, which means, of course, two mothers. And they're wonderful songwriters, and they'll be bringing children in, and they'll be holding a songwriting workshop. In the fall, Annie Wentz will be returning to the Endicott Performing Arts Center and holding a children's seminar about music of the world, where she'll get children involved with music from different countries, and she'll be holding a concert the evening of the workshop with the kids involved as well. So we're really excited about expanding our children's program here. Very excited about that. Another part of our mission here is to help make our community a better place to live, not only from a cultural and artistic point of view, but also from an economic point of view. Think about the fact that over the past 2 years, the Endicott Performing Arts Center has brought down to this avenue over 15,000 people who've come to attend the different events that have been performed here, to have come and participate in these different events. We're proud to be part of the Washington Avenue Revitalization Project, and we will continue to support in any way we can that revitalization project and the downtown merchants, and helping to make the Avenue a great place for the entire family to visit, to shop, to eat, to do business, to entertain and be entertained. The success thus far of EPAC has been aided not only by, of course, our volunteers, but also by the excellent help and cooperation we've had from our local government. I've asked many of them here today to hear about what we've done so far, and to let you know how appreciative we are for your support. I've invited our village, town, and county leaders to offer some comments at this point. And so what I'd like to do is to introduce, first of all, Bill White. Bill.
All right. Public speaking has never been one of my fortes, and I'm going to have to get into my glasses because my arms are no longer long enough to be kind for me to be here today. It's a pleasure to be asked to remark on the progress of this dream today. It is yet another milestone in the exciting transformation of a once historic theater in a booming business district to a more exciting state-of-the-art performing arts center, which again will be the hub of the revitalization of Washington Avenue. It is the heart and soul of what we call this revitalization. It is a result of the dreams, the leadership, and the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it by all of the people here and all the volunteers that have participated. I saw those tears today when that marquee came down. We often hear the fears of losing other such great events that come into this community, such as the BC Open, and we must do everything in our power to encourage future tournaments as well as other events like this. It has been good for this community. We attracted and provided a class act performance for these Empire State Games, and because of the hard work and the people in this community, they will return. We have the Speedy Fest, and regardless of its location, it has provided years of enjoyment for many of the people. However, these are annual events, and with all of the preparation and all the anticipation and goodness they bring, they are soon over and we wait until next year to enjoy them again. The dream here is the enhancement of the quality of life of this community. In today's fast-paced and stress-filled environments, people need a continuum of escape. What is wrong with having an event every month or a small activity every week? What is wrong with having a place to go on any given evening? These are not new ideas. You can look to the west and you will see a Market Street in Corning. You will look to the north and see the Armory Square in Syracuse, whereby you can go out to dinner, walk next door to a jazz bar, piano bar, or sit at a sidewalk cafe. These places are smaller communities that have experienced the same success that this community will experience. They have taken the ideas of larger venues across the country, such as the Quincy Market in Boston, 6th Street in Austin, Texas, and in performing arts complexes in Toronto and Rochester. When I brought this group to the county executive and the legislature 2 years ago, I told Jeff and my colleagues that this was a group with a heart and with sound ideas. We have proven that today how sound it is because we are standing on the money that we invested, and it has been a great investment. Some of the questions that I had from my colleagues as we represent all of Broome County, it's tough to sell just one portion of Broome County. There's still a lot of parochialism that exists and a lot of turf wars. So I get the question all the time, why Washington Avenue? Why Endicott? And I have a very simple answer. Why not Endicott? It was Endicott which put Broome County and upstate New York on the map many years ago with our leadership of Johnson and Watson. It's history that has proven that what is good for Endicott is good for Broome County and good for New York State. So in closing today, I believe, as I always have believed, I am energized by this progress, and I ask all of you to become believers and to be a part of this great transformation. I ask those who cannot believe to get out of the way. So I thank you again for the honor. Good luck and Godspeed. Thank you very much.
Broome County Legislator Bill White. Also with us today is Terry Kane, Deputy County Executive.
Happy to come in Jeff's stead this morning, as I have a particular soft spot in my heart for the performing arts. I grew up in Eastern Connecticut with the Eugene O'Neill Theater and nearly in my backyard, and my brother's now the manager there, so that I spend a lot of my summer times there. I also worked at the Robertson Museum and know well your renovation experience as I went through it with rebuilding the carriage house in the back of the building. So I do not envy what you've gone through, but I do envy what you're about to go through. That's the pleasure of being able to enjoy this. I think that we as government leaders can only provide the opportunity for you, the private sector, to succeed. That's our job. It's just to provide opportunity. But when the private sector takes over like this and ends up with the result of the building that you're sitting in today, this is really the role that you play. It's the most important role. I applaud you today, and I congratulate your effort.
We also have this morning with us the Mayor of Endicott, New York, Michael Colella. Mike?
Well, as you know, Washington Avenue is the heart of our village. And we who grew up here have a sense that if Washington Avenue fails or becomes less vital than it is, we will fail as a village. This is the perception that we have. And no mayor, no matter how popular or strong or ambitious, is going to single-handedly bring Washington Avenue back to what it was, back to its former splendor. It takes people who are ambitious and giving, people with ideas and people with the energy to make it happen, and people who have the courage to invest in their vision of what Washington Avenue could or will be. This theater has been what our heart of our village needed. Our first major contribution to a revitalized Washington Avenue. And this theater's growth, along with the many new businesses that have been moving to the Avenue, with the help of many of the people associated with the theater, is a signal that Endicott's future is a bright one. And a survey which I saw recently shows that our occupancy rate on Washington Avenue is up to 92%. So I congratulate the Endicott Performing Arts Center. We look forward to a successful theater year for 2001, and with a new sparkling marquee that we're going to see outside, which will light up the night on Washington Avenue. Thank you, Lou.
And Town Union Supervisor Jack Cheevers. There he is. I knew you were here somewhere, Jack.
What is there to say that hasn't already been said? It is a wonderful facility, and we're delighted in the Town of Union to be certainly part of this project. Also, I'd like to point out one of our town councilmen here, Mickey Arcangeli, and the whole town board, the whole town, departments, elected officials, everybody was just thrilled to be part of this whole project. From a personal point of view, of course, I went to school at the other end of the street down here, and those of us a little bit of gray hair. Mickey and I were talking earlier about remembering this was a Lyric Theater, so far back we go. But it is terrific. And again, we could stand here and go on, but I'd just like to make an observation. You know, again, as it's been pointed out, this is a bricks and mortar thing, but it is about people. What Mayor Colella said was very fitting. And I'd just like to say a couple of notes here on some of the people, unfortunately, who are not able to be here today. Of course, Beth Saliga in our Economic Development Department was very instrumental in working with this. All the officials in the Town of Union were just pleased to be part of it. I'd also like to make just one final mention here. There's one person, and I know this is a total project, who's your friend and our friend, Bob Corwin. I just kind of wish he was here today. We certainly wish him the best of health. And he certainly wasn't the only one, but he was a major part of this whole dream, and a lot of the credit goes to him. And we certainly wish him the best. Wish he was here today to see this fitting tribute. And again, we thank you on behalf of the Town of Union for letting us be a part of the project. Thank you.
Well, might want to take Prescott with his today. The Endicott Performing Arts Center was born of a dream 2.5 years ago. Since then, it's become a reality, largely due to the incredible support that we've received from the community, local government, local businesses, and particularly our volunteers. Every donation that we have received, whether it's been hours or dollars, has been used to renovate and operate this historic theater. What we have described here today has been accomplished by hard work, focused determination, strong community commitment, and a love for the theater. Every dollar and every hour donated has done much more than to repaint and reupholster an aging theater chair or to build a new stage. Those hours and dollars have helped to create a place where families can come together to entertain and to be entertained. Those hours and dollars have provided an arena for upcoming performing artists to display and share their hard work and their God-given talents. Those hours and dollars are giving our children
a chance to become stars. And those are the stars that will light up the night. Thank you for coming.